How's it going, everybody? Instead of written power rankings, you are getting a video version of them because, well, so here's what happened. It's a lot of effort writing out the power rankings. Um, so I wanted to try a video version because it seems a little easier, but it turns out I'm putting in far more effort to do this. And I've already messed up like 10 times. I have Bob. I'm on Xbox with Bob right now, so he's going to listen to me as I make these power rankings. But let's just jump right into it. I'll make these every couple weeks. Definitely not every week like Hogue wants, but they're going to come every couple. So the first team we have is Blake and the Lads. Bob, thoughts on that? On Blake and the Lads being first? He says he says justified. So anyways, so here's what happened. Here's why my team is the best. You got Lamar is probably the best fantasy quarterback. Maybe Josh Allen, but at worst he's number 2. Gibbs is going to take his throne as the number 1 running back this year. Travion Henderson is the next Jahmyr Gibbs, and you guys let him fall to me. Puka, you guys, he fell to the back of the second round, where usually he's going in the first round, so that was another gift. Zay, I don't love, but he's stacked with Lamar, so it was a no-brainer. Kittle, the best tight end, fantasy-wise. I think he's in the best situation. So I have the best running back, the best quarterback, the best tight end. Austin Eckler, I don't love starting him in the flex week 1, but he's going to catch passes. Denver, I have the best defense with a great schedule. The bench is okay. Jaden Reed might end up getting dropped. We'll see. But then I have on my bench, I have Rashee Rice, who I drafted too early because we didn't have that suspension news at first. But either way, I drafted good enough depth to where I can survive for 6 weeks without this guy. This is clearly the best team. I'm not going to get backlash for this, but I don't really care. I'm sure the Hogues and the Kevins of the world are going to be saying stuff to me, but that doesn't matter. So on to number 2. This might be a surprise, actually. I've played fantasy with this person for quite a while, and this is the best team I've ever seen them draft. This is my buddy Sam. And my buddy Sam, as of right now, no injuries yet. No injuries. No one's in. Everyone's healthy. So he is Derrick Henry and McCaffrey. The fact that fell to him, no other draft that I'm in that would have happened. We'll get later to why he was able to create this team. It's due to one specific person who is drafting at pick number 8. So Derrick Henry and McCaffrey, probably the best running back duo in fantasy when they're both healthy. Devontae Adams is but he's going to catch touchdowns regardless, as long as Stafford's healthy. Jalen Hurts, top 5 quarterback. I love Cortland Sutton. I think Denver's poised to have a big year. Trey McBride, probably the second best fantasy tight end behind Kittle. Pollard is a little flaccid, but now that his backup is injured, it's really only him, and they have a really good offensive line, so in theory, he should be good. The bench is your issue, I think. Sam, you have Ricky Pearsall and Calvin Ridley, which I like both of those. You have 0 running back depth. I think Rachaad White probably didn't even deserve to be drafted, and that's the only running back in your bench. Drake May, you're never going to be starting him over Jalen Hurts. Like, he's injury bye-week filler, fine. Michael Pittman, I don't love. Matthew Golden is a bum. He's on Green Bay. Your bench might be your downfall, but as of right now, week 1, this is probably the second best team in my opinion. Number 3, I had a tough time choosing between 2 teams, and I know the one who I didn't choose is going to cause a fit. I put him at 4. But number 3 is Dezo. Joe Burrow has the worst defense in the history of the NFL. He's going to have to throw it 50 times a game again. Chase Brown is on that offense. He catches passes. It's not the Burrow-Chase stack, but it's still pretty good. Hampton, Najee has one eye. He has no competition for touches. Najee's also fat. And so it doesn't matter. Rashawn Slater got hurt, which kind of sucks. But I still expect them to be a good offense. CeeDee Lamb has just as good of a chance now with the Parsons trade to finish as a wide receiver 1. So that was a good pick. Drake London, great pick. He's probably going to finish in the top 10 with Penis Jr. Goddard sucks. I don't know why you drafted him. Devontae Smith is fine. I expect the Eagles have to throw more, but as long as all of the Eagles are healthy, Goddard's not going to be good. The bench. I like the bench. You got Bill, Travis Hunter, Deebo Samuel, Addison. His suspension will be over by the time you need him for bye weeks and shit. So that works out. Bye weeks and stuff. Javonte, Tank Bigsby, But overall, yeah, no, this is a good bench. You drafted a good depth. For some reason, you're starting the Ravens defense against the Bills. That's questionable, but whatever you feel is best. So you're number 3. Number 4, this is the guy who's going to be angry at me. I know he is. He thinks he is the best team. My buddy Kevin. So let's talk about it, Kev. Let's talk about it. Bijan and Hubbard, a great running back duo. Bijan could have finished as number 2 running back because he's no chance to finish 1 because that's Gibbs. Hubbard is a lock for, 12, 13 points. He's nothing fancy, but he'll be consistent. Brian Thomas, I'm a little worried because all his production came with Mac Jones. Trevor Lawrence is better, so in theory it should be okay, but you never know. But he's still a good pick. McConkey, I wanted McConkey, but I do think he was overdrafted lately. I was whispering sweet nothings in your ear about him, and I think I might have pressured you into this one. I know you would have rather had Puka, but that's just how fantasy goes sometimes. Still a fine pick. Hawkinson will be good for PPR. I love Higgins. Same reason I love Chase. They're going to have to throw it. Their defense is terrible. Whatever. Your bench. So this is what I don't get. You drafted Herbert to start with the stack with McConkey, which I loved, and now you're sitting him for Dak Prescott against the best defense in the league on a Thursday night. Maybe you just want some action in that first Thursday night game. I get it. But I'm not sure if I would have done that if I were you. It could pay off. Who knows? The Chiefs' defense isn't all it's cracked up to be. I would be starting Herbert, but that's just me. That's just me, Kev. You call your shot. Worthy will be great for the first 6 weeks of the season until Rice comes back. Jalen Warren is your guy, I guess. You were touting him all offseason, so good luck with that one. Chris Godwin's on IR. We have an IR spot, by the way. He's not in there. That's questionable. Just like Khalil Shakir is questionable. Just like Jacoby Myers is questionable. But overall, it's probably one of the top half benches in the league, but not one of the best. So yeah, you're still a good team, obviously. You come in at number 4. Number 5, I'm going with Nick P. Oh, that's the Hope's team. Nick P. Nick P is number 5. There we go. Josh Allen, Saquon, and Bucky. That's going to be the trio. That's such a good trio. I love Bucky. I didn't get him in any leagues. Saquon might have the Madden curse. Sorry to say that. But as long as I'm not going to predict injuries, so right now it's fine. Tyrone Tracy? Like, you're starting Tyrone Tracy, Nick P? I don't know about that. I'm going to be real with you. Quinshon Judkins might have been the worst pick of the draft, aside from one, which I'll bring up later. In like the 5th or 6th round, that was way too early. I don't know what happened there. But other than that, the bench is really good. This actually probably is the best bench in the league. You still need to drop Jalen Wright. But after you do that, and thank God someone's using their IR spot with Brandon Ayuk, Kevin. This is easily the best bench in the league, I would say. Your whole team will hinge on Marvin Harrison Jr. There's going to be almost obvious regression for Terry McLaurin. But if Marvin Harrison becomes what he's projected, this turns into one of the better teams in the league. Probably, maybe the second best even. Kyle Pitts, I don't know about that. They're saying good things about him in training camp, so maybe this is the year, his 5th year breakout, as they like to say. But yeah, this team probably should be ranked higher after I look at it again, but for now it's 5. 6, I'm going with my buddy Hogue, who had the first pick overall. Let me talk about this, Hogue. Kyron Williams and Kamara, they're a good running back duo in a PPR league. Well, actually, Kyron Williams doesn't catch passes, but he's still a good running back. Kamara, on the other hand, does catch passes, but I project to be the worst team in the league. You never want to have a running back in a bad team. It never works out because he's going to have stub his toe, and they're going to put him on IR at the end of the season when they're 1-10 or whatever they are. Jamar Chase, probably the best player in fantasy. Best wide receiver for sure. Neighbors, again, same thing with Kamara. I don't like drafting players on bad teams, but he's going to be a target hog. He's going to have probably 10 to 15 targets a game. He's the only guy there. Kelsey's old. Metcalf, I don't like Aaron Rodgers, so I can't like that pick. But again, similar to Neighbors, he's like the only guy there, so maybe he'll just volume his way into a good fantasy season. The bench, I like the bench. You got Swift and Pacheco, both could start every week. Judy could start every week. Kraft might end up being your starter, especially once Rice comes back. I don't know about Kelsey, but Kraft could end up being your starter. The long shot on Tesla, you got to love that. This team would have been a lot more dangerous if you had drafted Joe Burrow to pair with Chase, but you decided to not go that direction. You wanted to get the wide receiver and running back depth, which is fine. Would have been a lot more scared of this team if you had Burrow instead of Purdy. But San Francisco has a super easy schedule, so he could have a big year anyways. That was number 6. Number 7, I'm going with my buddy Steven Brager. Rookies are us. I thought you killed your first part of the draft with Amon-Ra, Nico, Bowers, Daniels. After that, it started to go downhill. Tetaroa McMillan, they're going to be throwing the ball a lot, but he's a rookie at the end of the day. I think he'll be good, though. Breece Hall, I hate Breece Hall. Hate drafting Jets. Hate Justin Fields. This was terrible. David Montgomery, he's safe, but he doesn't have a very high ceiling unless Gibbs gets hurt. Then he does, but until then, I'm not predicting injuries. Let's talk about the bench. So, kind of similar to Kevin, you figured out there's an IR spot. You put Mixon there, good job, but you have an empty bench spot. I don't know what's going on there. Whatever, he's putting yourself at a disadvantage. You could really use some running back depth, I will tell you that. Because both your running backs are currently backup rookies. So if either one of these guys gets hurt, you're in big trouble unless you make a trade. Because there's rumors now Mixon won't play the entire season. So if that happens, you're in big trouble. You have to make a trade. I sent you one, by the way. Go look at it. Yeah, you're number 7. If this running back figures itself out, then you might be able to raise. And your receivers are so good, maybe they can just carry you and your quarterback, but we'll see. This team is kind of scary. Number 8, I decided to go with, where is he at? Jacob Aller. 2021, this is a dream team with Jonathan Taylor and Tyreek Hill. But Tyreek Hill stayed far away from him. Don't trust the Dolphins. Don't trust Tua to stay healthy. Don't trust him to stay healthy. And who knows? He might be the next Antonio Brown, ripping his jersey off in the middle of the game and waving goodbye at halftime with how this dude's offseason has gone. Jonathan Cook, and as long as Jonathan Taylor stays healthy, he's gonna produce. James Cook got his contract. That's good. Hopefully he stays healthy. Jefferson probably is turning into the safest first-round pick. Maybe a little name fatigue, which he shouldn't have, but he does. But he's going to be good regardless of quarterback. Baker is probably due for some regression. And again, Garrett Wilson, the same reason Breece Hall. I hate Justin Fields. Like, he's the only guy there, but still, what is Justin Fields going to pass for? Like, or how many even attempts? He's going to have like 20 attempts per game. It's just, he's going to have his big games and whatnot. But, it's risky. And you must love Minnesota. I just realized this. You have Aaron Jones and J.J. McCarthy and Justin Jefferson. Tyler Warren, I love. He probably is going to end up starting over Jake Ferguson for you. eventually because, yeah, he's definitely gonna end up starting. Cooper Kupp, flaccid. This is almost the opposite to Brager, where you have great running back depth, but terrible wide receiver depth. Because all you have is Cooper Kupp. So if one of these guys gets hurt, you're in big trouble. Especially one of these top two. Big trouble. You have some really good running back depth, though, so that's good. So you're number 8 for now. You know, if Tyreek regains his form, this team could be very good, but we'll see about that. Number 9, Bob Johnson. I know he's not going to like this. Bob, you don't like this, do you? Oh, he says he loves it. Okay. Let's go through it. Bo Nix, good fantasy quarterback. I actually really like that pick. Ashton Jeanty, one of my least favorite picks of the draft. Don't trust that offensive line. Don't trust that team. You know, maybe he's great and Bob proves me wrong. I love Josh Jacobs. Love JSN in a PPR. Mike Evans, not so much. He's going to be good while Chris Godwin's out, most likely. But when he comes back, he's in trouble. The Evan Ingram, I don't know if he meant to do this, but he stacked him with Bo Nix, and I love a good stack. He's saying he didn't mean to do that. I don't believe him. I love a good stack. James Conner, I love this year. They have such an easy schedule. He's probably going to go off as long as he's healthy. The bench is good. I'll say this about Bob. He did a good job drafting depth. He has 2 or 3 guys, probably 3 for sure, maybe 4 on here that could be every week starters. DJ Moore, Diggs, maybe Keon Coleman, Nick Chubb, maybe Caleb Johnson. Caleb Johnson definitely, but not till later in the season. So yeah, Bob did a good job drafting his depth. And then, but the starting lineup, we'll see. It all hinges on Jeanty. So we'll see. And then Jack. I love you, but why? No one was going to take Jared Goff from you, Jack. You didn't have to draft him at pick number 8. And this is who I was referring to about Sam. Sam should be thanking Jack for not taking one of those running backs because that allowed a player to slip. A-Chain probably should have been Bob's pick, but he wasn't. So you took Goff with the 8th pick. You could have reached for him. That's fine, but you didn't have to do it in the first round with pick number 8. No one was going to take him. What I hate most about it is that you don't even have faith in him because you doubled down and went with Patrick Mahomes, who's probably a better option and should be starting, and he's sitting on your bench. Speaking of benches, this is the worst bench I've ever seen. It's just bad. A-Chain and A.J. Brown, good picks. R.J. Harvey, similar to Caleb Johnson, will probably be good halfway through the season, but like Laporta's fine, Waddle's okay. Jack, this is maybe the worst team I've ever seen drafted before. I hope you prove me wrong. I'd love if you did, but I don't see it. Yeah, so that concludes week 1 power rankings. They'll be out again in a couple weeks. Maybe I'll bring a guest on here. We can go over it. Good luck this season, everyone except for Bob Johnson.